My name is Arin Lindauer, and you're listening to A Life Without Struggle. I'm a wife, a mother of 2 wonderful children, a 2-time best-selling author, and a highly driven and successful entrepreneur. In my 17-plus year career as a mindset and health expert, I know what holds women back from a life you only dream about. Whether you're a CEO, a businesswoman, or executive, I started this podcast because I have been where you are, and I know you want and deserve more out of your life. I believe women are limitless. We just get lost along the way. The process to get you there is the topic and purpose of this podcast. When you understand what you want, you can truly step into a life without struggle. Welcome, and I'm so thankful you're here. Welcome back to another episode of Life Without Struggle. My name is Arin Lindauer, and today we're going to dig into, is self-doubt holding you back? Self-doubt is a really big topic, and it's a topic that I talk about, I would say indirectly, with a lot of my clients. Not all, but several of my clients. And even if I was being completely transparent, self-doubt creeps in, and even in myself. And so the important thing that we want to speak into today is just understanding how complex self-doubt can be. And it's very common. And there's a lot of reasons why we may feel this way. So I want to take you down just a little bit of, okay, where does this show up? How do we feel this? How does this impact us when it comes to hitting, honestly, any of our goals? This is not just related to a health and wellness goal. It can be a business goal. It can be a relationship goal. It could be a financial goal. So have you ever had a time in your life where you didn't know if you could do something? I'm sure all of us. I mean, just think back when you learned how to ride a bike. There was self-doubt. There was fear. Can I do this? Will I succeed? But with enough pep and motivation from others, or maybe seeing other kids riding their bike, guess what? All of a sudden, we are able to get on that bike and believe that we can do it. So sometimes it takes an external motivation. Sometimes it takes seeing someone else's success. And so I know I'm talking about riding a bike, or am I? So hang with me on this topic here, because this could literally be what you need to remove to completely bust through and absolutely nail any goal that you're looking for. So the thing that I see happen is too many times we fear failure. We fear that we're going to fail and that there's maybe potential consequences that are going to come with it. So it's almost like it's our protective mechanism to avoid taking any risk or facing any potential setbacks. This is something that I see in a lot of women who stand on the fence. Do I want to invest in myself, hire a coach? Because that means I got to face the music. Like, I actually put my money where my mouth is, and it's like, I've got to face the music. So instead, they don't invest in themselves. They constantly complain that they can't see results, and they never actually ever do anything about it because the fear of failure is so paralyzing. Here's another one that I'm sure nobody can relate with. How about good old perfectionism? So the desire to just be perfect, it truly can lead to self-doubt, because so many times we'll set totally unrealistic standards. And then when we fall short, just that self-doubt, that self-sabotage, you suck mentality comes into play. The only reason I'm even laughing at this bullet point that I had was because this has been me time and time again. I've set so many standards so flippin' high that it's like, dude, Arin, nobody can hit that standard. And so that doesn't mean don't have standards for yourself. It doesn't mean don't reach for things that you desire. It doesn't mean, don't, but it is okay to carve things out between the yellow lines is what I always call it. You can touch the yellow lines, but let's keep it between there. But even that, I will tell you, it's okay to reach for things that do feel out of reach, but it's important to give yourself grace in the pursuit. The other thing that I see happen is we do compare ourselves. And so going back to that riding a bike example, like you could compare yourself to others and it could be positive or it could be negative. So you could look at the other kiddo riding the bike and being like, man, I can't do this. I stink, whatever. Or you could look at that other kiddo and be like, well, dang, if they could do it, I can do it too. And that's what I think happens with testimonials when you see someone who has seen really good weight loss. Like it either really inspires us or it's just like, dang, why can't I do this? I think I see that too in business. When you see someone hit really awesome goals, for me, it's always been really inspiring. And it's like, dang, I had no idea that was even possible. But there has been times in my life when I'm like, man, why can't I do that? Like, what's wrong with me, right? And so let's talk about comparison. So constantly comparing oneself to others can contribute to a lot of self-doubt. Seeing other people's successes or perceived strengths may make you truly question your own worth and capabilities. So here's what I want to challenge you with that is we can rewrite this, that when we see someone else winning, we go, dang, if they can do it, I can do it too, if not more. Okay, so there's no tick for tack that just because someone else wins means you can't win. If anything, it proves like, okay, cool. They felt what I felt. They struggled where I struggled, yet they conquered, they endured. They were able to hit what exactly I want to do. Other things that I can see creep in is like past experiences. So like negative past experiences, especially those that involve a lot of criticism or failure, these can leave an impact on our self-confidence. And so then this creates more of this looping behavior that creates a belief system and a pattern that the same thing will happen again in future things that we try to do. So this is really important in coaching and having a coach is you want to have a coach who can actually sniff this out, who can actually see that, okay, this person has experienced these things in their life. Do you think this is attributing to what's going on today? 9 times out of 10, yeah, it is. But here's the coolest part about that. That doesn't mean you're damaged goods. That doesn't mean that you can't succeed now. It just means that, hey, we may have a looping pattern that we just got to break through. We need to rewrite how we feel and how we perceive, because here's something that has been installed in me is that we never truly fail. Everything is absolute feedback. Should we choose to look at it and learn from it and grow from that? Another big one I see is imposter syndrome, where someone experiences this type of feeling when they doubt their achievements or fear of being exposed as a fraud or like, oh, she didn't really do that or she can't do this, despite evidence that, hey, you totally got this. And so try to say that like people are just lucky. Well, I believe that there's manufactured coincidences. I learned that there are manufactured coincidences because we start really aligning our beliefs that shape our actions along with our value system of what we believe to be true in this world. The other thing is like lacking that positive reinforcement. There's so much of me that I know I was put on this earth to coach and lift people up, but I couldn't be where I am today if I didn't have the coaching and support and the positive reinforcement Now, it doesn't mean that we're positive Patty all day long and we're high-fiving and, listen, I love a good old fist bump all day, every day. But here's the deal. We have to have encouraging people can lift us up when we're doubting ourselves, because we have to have that affirmation that helps us understand our worth and our abilities, especially when we've been down a treacherous trail, okay? So this doesn't mean that you can't do this for yourself. Maybe you just need to be your positive reinforcement. The other things that I see happen so many times is we have this amazing inner critic. I'm just kidding. We have a really mean inner critic. This persistent, nagging, negative self-talk that plays an amazing role in our self-doubt. This critical voice can undermine our confidence, amplify perceived flaws and shortcomings. I constantly talk about the angel and the devil on your shoulder. That angel is like, girl, you got this, anything you want. No, you don't want that second helping. No, you don't need that carb, sugar, whatever, salty, sweet thing. And then you've got the devil over here saying, what's one little bite? What's one little snack? What's one little this or that? Oh, it's okay if you miss your workout. And it's wild what we listen to. But here's something that I know is we will listen to that inner critic that says, nah, girl, not today. You're okay. Let down your hair. It's all good. And we have to get really good at just overriding this self-negative talk. You've got to talk to yourself versus listen to yourself. You got to talk positive tracks. This is why it's critical to know what you want and why the heck you want it so bad. You have to be so convicted in your desire for your outcome that nothing would stop you. So some other things that we want to think about is just the uncertainty when we look into our future. We face a lot of things as humans that we feel like are very out of control, or we don't have exactly the clear path on how something is going to get accomplished. We maybe set some really, really big goal that it's like, what? Like, how in the world would that ever happen? And this can really trigger self-doubt, and it can be unsettling, and it can really lead us to questioning our abilities. So the most important thing we can do is understand and recognize when we're feeling self-doubt. What do we do instead? Because this is what I have witnessed and watched time and time again, is we will sit in our own manufactured prison. Think about this. There's also research that talks about when someone has been incarcerated, that they get released and they will quickly find a way to get themselves in trouble to get put back in jail. There's research after research after research, because it's easier to go back to what's familiar, even if that sounds to you and I completely crazy. Why would someone want to go back to jail? But there is research proving that it is easier for that person to go back to what they're used to. So think about that for yourself and your own health and wellness, your business, career, your life, your relationships, your financial goals. Think about this. Are you putting yourself in your own personal prison? I want you to really dig on this and ask yourself, what would be the purpose of staying in self-doubt and fear and not hitting your goal? What is the purpose? Now, you may come to the conclusion that, man, Arin, there is no purpose. I have no purpose around staying in this personal prison. And I want to tell you that that's a good thing. And what I want you to think about then is, okay, girl, what do you want instead? What would you want instead of being in self-doubt? What would you want instead? Because the most important part of this exercise is understanding, okay, I recognize I have this feeling. I understand that I keep putting roadblocks in front of myself because I'm questioning my own abilities for a magnitude of reasons. And honestly, sometimes those reasons don't even matter. But what matters is that we're aware and we start rewriting the talk track that, hey, when it comes to a weight loss goal, it's a matter of sleeping, it's a matter of drinking water, it's a matter of moving our body, and it's a matter of eating decently well, not perfect. None of those things have to be perfect for most people to get decent enough results. Now, sure, if you want to take this to a whole nother level, yes, we're going to have to do some different things, but there's a different level of motivation once you can get over a certain hump. So this message is for the person who has been feeling stuck, who has been feeling like they can't get past something. This is something that comes up more times than it's really actually surprising to me how many times this comes up in my own coaching, that we have this fear of failure. We have this fear of I can't do this. And do I have the ability to lose weight? And again, you can apply this to all goals in your life. And I want you to know that you're not alone. But I also want you to know that it's not okay to just sit here and to waller in this and to just constantly loop and repeat and be frustrated. There's so much life to live. There's so many reasons for you to get your you-know-what together and let's go like yesterday. So as always, I hope this is just that little burst, that boost, that like, hey man, I'm on the right track. Like, I want these results. This is what I desire. And sure, do I have a bad day every now and again? Do I get sick every now and again? Yeah, it happens. It knocks us off our course. But the really cool thing is you get right back on track every freaking time. And you ask yourself, what can I learn? What was the feedback? We process it and then we move on. That is the most important step, is you move on and you get really fired up and really passionate about the cool things that are coming for you. Because I know anything you want in this world is possible. Most of us set way too small of goals. So let this be the fire you needed. Let's get out there today. Let's go be awesome and let's kick some ass. Go get 'em, ladies.